Hey, Jennifer. Howdy, Mia. Hey, K-Roll. Kelly's in the house representing Davis, California. Brad McNichols is in the house. Hello, Brad. Hope you're doing well. Pimp. Savannah Stubbs says howdy, hi. Mozaf is here. Nexer's in the house, one of our moderators. Hey, Nexer, how are you? Cheryl is in the house representing BC, Canada. Leah is here. Sarah says hi. This is fantastic, guys. As you jump online, please share where you're coming from. David Yu is representing Chandler, Arizona. And we're going to get started right at the bottom of the hour at 6:30. So we've got about 30 minutes until we go live. Bahamas are representing. Gosh, that's really cool. Christy Cooper, hailing from Pittsburgh, is in the house. New York, Long Island representing. Wales is represented with Jenny. That's really, really awesome. Maryland in the house. This is fantastic. Jen McGraw, one of our amazing moderators, is in the house. Hello, Jen. Hope you and your family are doing well. Rachel says hello from Maine, and Haley says hi from Daytona Beach. Elizabeth in Nova Scotia is representing. Pierrot, Illinois, represented by Jeremy. Hey, how are you, my friend? Canada is in the house. Marysville representing. Georgia's in the house. Dallas, Texas, what's up? This is fantastic. Is the music at the right level? Happy birthday, Kelly. Wichita, Kansas, what's up? Lemon Peel Angelfish, representing one of our amazing moderators from New Zealand. It's so nice to see you. Serbia is in the house. Waziza. Hello. Houston, Texas. And hello. Carolyn Doss. Sean Jones, representing Washington, Maryland. As you guys come on, feel free to give the live stream a thumbs up. It lets the YouTube algorithm know that you like what we're doing. Helps push it out so more people can enjoy the content. The Real Down Under. Christian's rocking some flames from Australia. I'm loving that. Mike is in the house, one of our moderators from Massachusetts representing. Elizabeth starting her Ocrevus this Thursday. That is really exciting. Congratulations. Robert says the music is just right. Robert, thank you very much. Mandy, thank you for the like. Brendan's representing with some flames. You know I love that, my friend. I am really excited to talk with everyone tonight. We're going to be discussing some research evolving in the field. I have some clinical trials data to share with you. Desiree is in the house, one of our amazing moderators from Pennsylvania. What's up, Desiree? Deb representing in the house. I love it. Grab yourself a beverage. Get yourself cozy. If you need a blanket, grab a blanket. We've got about 28 minutes until we go live. I'm looking forward to spending some fun time with you guys tonight. I've got a fun list of discussion topics in store, and we're going to be doing a live stream, Ask Me Anything MS. It's going to be awesome. Joe is in the house. What's up, Joe? Melissa's throwing up some flames. Mystic Dreamfire is representing Ontario, Canada. Gotta love that. Lydia, yeah. Kelly representing her birthday with some flames today. Mike is in the house. What's up, Mike? Thank you for the flames, my friend. Little Fuzzball, please tell Dr. Dunn that I said hi. That guy is amazing. I adore him. I would love to have him on the channel. He is eloquent and brilliant and one of the nicest neurologists I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Please tell him that Aaron Boster said howdy hi. Kelly representing Newfoundland. That is really awesome. Naples, Florida in the house with Mama Bear. Disabled Gamer rocking what's up. I'm digging that. Lemon Peel Angelfish is throwing up flames. Hallie, there's a lot out there today. We've got 27 different formulations of medicine. I bet we can find something that works. Nexer's throwing up flames. Thank you, Nexer. Sybil Tammer's in the house. We are going to have a great discussion tonight. I can't wait. 25 more minutes until we go live. Get yourself comfy and cozy. Grab a bite to eat. Grab yourself a beverage. Strap in. Put on your helmet. Let's get ready to do this. Tulsa, Oklahoma representing. What's up, Doug? Hey, Jenny, good to see you. High five, Desiree. I'm glad you got a notification, Robert. That's awesome. OH, Susie Q. OH. IO. Ichabod 13, hey, it's great to see you. Ichabod has been a supporter for a long time. He also made one of the most beautiful stained glass I've ever seen or had the privilege of displaying at my center. Ichabod, don't worry about it, my friend. You can always catch the replay, and thank you for stopping by and saying hi. It's really nice to see you. Shannon in Pennsylvania. What's up, Emin? What's up, Christy Cooper? Texas is in the house. Chillicothe representing. Angela, one of our amazing moderators, is in the house. Renekins is soon going to go from Florida to New Mexico. I see a theme of warmth. Montana representing. Hey, what's up, Corey? Rachel started intermittent fasting. I'm loving that. I do 16/8 intermittent fasting. Anastasia representing New Zealand. There's at least 2 New Zealanders on tonight. That is really cool. Beeville, Texas. Leslie says hello, howdy, hi. Tennessee. Angela Long is in the house. Hey, Darla, how are you? Another one of our amazing moderators just jumped on. This is so exciting. We have just 22 minutes until we go live. Oh my goodness, nice DC. That is so nice of you and not necessary. God bless. Northern Michigan, up in God's country. Keith is representing. Thank you so much for the super chat. Nice, DC. Sunny, California. Hey, Kathy, how are you? MDB representing Chillicothe. Moscow's in the house. That's so awesome. I don't know that I've had anyone from Moscow on the live stream. Thank you very much. Hey, Shannon shares that a probiotic's been helping her out. That is really cool, and Darla loves the music. Kansas representing. Larry, thank you so much for joining us from Arkansas. We're going to go live in 20 minutes at the bottom of the hour. Ian's in the house representing New Zealand. Mississippi, what's up? Philly's in the house. Hey, Stephanie, how are you? Rocker Chicks representing Mississippi, longtime member of the channel. Infi FWT, hey, how are you? Thank you so much for coming by. Oh my goodness, Andrea, it's 1 a.m. your time. Well, that's so nice of you. Cheryl says that she found some of our videos helpful. God bless you, Cheryl. Thank you so much for sharing that. It means the world to me. Barry is giving a little bit of luck. Cynthia is in the house. Hey, Cynthia. Cynthia is an amazing community member and village member with a tremendous knowledge base and a lot of things related to AV. So Cynthia has helped me try to up my game. We have just under 20 minutes before we go live. Paul says that intermittent fasting is easier than you think. South Carolina is representing. Hey, Shannon Johnson, hope you're doing well. Make sure to grab your water, grab a snack, get yourself comfy and cozy. Take a bio break if you need it. We go live in just over 15 minutes. Hey, Tina G. Hallie, I have several videos on my channel under the playlist MS in Nutrition, where I discuss intermittent fasting. You might find those helpful. Shayma, it's wonderful to see you. I hope that you're doing well. Another amazing moderator and a very wonderful and nice person. It's so good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Stephanie. There will be a Q&A session tonight, Stephanie, and we will try to get to that question. You're asking about autologous hematopoietic stem cell transplantation. What's up, David? Raymond's got his water. I've got mine, my friend. You know what's going to happen in just a little bit. Wow, Pam is celebrating her 50th wedding anniversary. That's amazing. Congratulations. Enos is representing Spain tonight. Deb's got her water. Wow, there's over 100 people online already. That's amazing. If you guys have a moment, before we get started, jump out of the chat, throw a thumbs up, and jump back in. It lets the YouTube algorithm know you really like what we're doing. Anna representing Germany tonight. The coast of Maine is in the house. What's up, Christina? Thank you for the props, Angela. Congratulations on joining a clinical trial, Missy. Thank you very much for your contribution. Aaron Gill is in the house, throwing up some sun. Hey, Aaron, I hope you're doing well. Jason Bell representing Naples. T-minus 15 minutes, guys. Michael's got the right idea. Haley's got the right idea. Flames is what's up. 14 short minutes until we go live. Make sure you've got your water ready. Get yourself tucked in. We've got a lot to talk about tonight, guys. Christina's got her water at the ready. Stephanie is armed with fire. Canada, what's up, Calgary? Axis Garm, if you have an MS diagnosis, the National MS Society may help you. Also, the Multiple Sclerosis Association of America has a program to help pay down the cost of MRI. Go to MSAA's website, and up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see their MRI assistance program. Cynthia, I've got River here. The puppy's not here right now, but I can definitely show you River. Michael Murphy representing down in Florida, staying warm, making me jealous. Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. John Wayne is in the house representing Virginia. Deb is celebrating her 8th wedding anniversary. Joe Siders is in the house, one of our amazing moderators, throwing up some flames. Hello, howdy, hi, Joe. I hope you and yours are doing amazingly well. Leslie throwing props at the graphics. Thank you very much. LC, thank you very much. I love live streaming too. It is so awesome to connect with everyone. Renekins, I am a big fan of carbonation, and that does not break your fast. Facts. Suzanne, we're going to be talking about hope tonight. We're going to be talking about medicines that may very well affect progression of disability. Stick around. Terry representing AK, what's up? Hey, Julian, how are you? Michael Murphy shares that it's 93 degrees down in Florida. That is hot, my friend. Thank you for the hearts, Kathy. Right back at you. John Wayne's curious about Uhthoff's phenomenon. We can answer that during the Q&A session. Mansfield, Ohio is in the house. Los Angeles is in the house. Nate, you are in the right place. We will definitely be talking about BTK, and I'll be sharing some phase 2 data. New York, what's up, Mary Bell? 11 minutes until we go live. Milwaukee is in the house. Kathy shares that it's 95 in Phoenix. Axis Garm, see if your primary care doctor will sign for you. Shayma's got some coffee ready. That's fantastic. 10 minutes until we go live. I would have no qualms starting Tysabri at 65, Kathy. I think that sounds fantastic. Shannon says it's 58 in Pennsylvania, whereas Michael Murphy said it's 93 in Florida. Wow, that's a big differential. If moderators are on the line and listening, if you wouldn't mind sharing on Facebook and Twitter that we've gone live, I would be grateful. Sarah's in Georgia. Krista, no, that's not normal. Copaxone to Aubagio is a step up, in my opinion. Going from Copaxone to Aubagio sounds like a solid idea. John, I understand. That's still mostly water, my friend. I think we're going to be okay. Desiree, thank you very much. I really appreciate you doing that. We have 8 minutes until we go live. Joy Tor, it's great to see you. Joy said, I hope you're doing well. I hope your family's doing well. Thank you, Angela. T-minus 8 minutes until we go live. High five, Desiree. Thank you for the love. Bug Dude, Carolyn Doss throwing up flames. These are great questions, guys. We're going to be doing a Q&A later on tonight, and I can't wait to tackle them. T-minus 7 minutes and counting. Let's go. T minus 5 minutes. Judy Lemaire is in the house. Hey, Judy, I hope you're doing well. Amanda, what's up? Great question. We're going to get to a bunch of questions tonight. We have exactly 4 minutes until we go live. Grab your water, get yourself comfy, and get ready. Cynthia, that's pretty cool. I'm jealous. Thank you for the flames, Angela. It is about time to rock and roll. Portugal is in the house. What's up, Rafik? Hey, Ben. Good luck with that appointment, Elizabeth. Thank you for the flames, Hallie. T minus 2 minutes, yo. Connecticut, what's up, Lucy B? Robert Wilhelm representing in the house. Hey, Robert, I hope you and your family are doing great. Stephanie's still here. We got flames in the house. We are minutes away from getting started. Yes. That's exactly right, Hallie. Let's get some flames rocking and rolling. We are minutes away from getting started. If you guys would flame up the chat for me. One minute and counting. Rock Chick's got it going on. Stephanie's got it going on. Show me some flames. That's exactly right. Let's kick this off proper. Flames in the house. Bristol, England representing. It's getting excited, guys. It's getting really exciting. Seconds away from starting at the bottom of the hour. Strike up the drums, turn on the horns. Let's rock and roll. Happy birthday, Kelly. Hey, Tim. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Shannon. Seconds away, literally under a minute. Howdy, hi. Hello, everyone. Aaron Boster here. I am super duper excited to see everyone. This is our May live stream. Let me just type howdy in the chat. I am absolutely thrilled to see everyone. There are 139 of you that have already jumped online. Thank you so very much. I have a lot in store for you tonight. There's a lot of excitement. I can't believe all the wonderful people that have already jumped online. For those of you that are new here, as you jump online, please share where you're coming from. After the live stream, it's a great pleasure to go back through all of the chat. I read every chat, I write down every question, and I love to see where people are calling in from. This growing global online village keeps getting more and more robust, and it fills me with joy. Colorado's in the house, New York is in the house. This is so fantastic. Hello and welcome, everyone. My name's Aaron Boster. I'm an MS neurologist in sunny Columbus, Ohio, and today, surprisingly, it's actually beautiful outside. We've finally broken the snowy weather. May is turning out to be a very decent month from a temperature standpoint, and this is our May live stream. Since I opened the Boster Center for Multiple Sclerosis in March of 2020, we've been doing a monthly live stream every month, and this is the May live stream, so thank you so very much for joining me. We've got a lot of stuff in store tonight. Whoa, look at that. There's a camera problem, guys. Now you got to bear with me. I spend a tremendous energy trying to make these cameras work, and I will not be thwarted. Bear with me seconds. I may be a neuroimmunologist, but I can play videographer with the best of them. There we go. All right, let's see if that... Oh, look at that! This is not going to make me very happy, guys. Oh, I think we're okay now. Look, the top cam's not working. All right, bear with me. Don't run away, guys. You're just watching Dr. B practicing my hobby of trying to make my cameras work. Okay, all right, there we go. So I think we're in good shape right now. All the cameras appear to be working. Maybe we'll use this one. There's 171 of you online. Wow, that's amazing. This is the May live stream. I've got a lot in store for you tonight. With no further ado, what have I prepared for us this evening? We're going to be doing an Ask Me Anything. So we're going to wrap up with a series of questions. So prepare your questions. The moderators will hopefully help cue those up. But that's going to happen in the second half of this discussion. I have two really fun things to talk to you about tonight. I want to share with you some updates at my center, at the Boster Center for MS. And it sounds like, oh, the music's really loud. Whoa, I'm so sorry. The music was super loud. Can you guys hear okay? Okay, all right. It sounds like the music is a little bit better now. So sorry about that. Okay, all right. So you're able to hear me okay? You know, when I do professional live streams with companies, I'm always impressed that they have like a crew. So they've got like someone doing sound and someone doing the videography and someone fielding the questions. And then oftentimes I'm just the talent, you know, I'll just answer questions or what have you. Well, here I feel like a one-man band. And so I'm so appreciative you guys are kind to me as I butcher this live stream. Hopefully you can see me and the sound is okay and the music's not overwhelming. Let's see if I switch. Hopefully that's not too loud either. And one of the things that I'm going to talk to you tonight about is our participation recently in the National MS Society walks. It was a really, really special event for me. And so let's just start there. And let me find the appropriate slides that I've prepared for you tonight. So this was the first year since the beginning of the pandemic, since 2020, that the Ohio chapter of the National MS Society has had a in-person walk. Because of the pandemic, they were not safe to have groups of people together, as you're all very well aware. And as a result, there has not been an MS walk in Columbus for about 2 years. This was the first one. Now, the Boster Center for Multiple Sclerosis band together. We created an MS team with almost 250 plus people that joined. And we band together to walk and raise money. And I'm really, really proud of us. It's our first time that we put forth an effort with the Boster Center for MS. And we were able to raise $13,000 towards the National MS Society so that we could try to find the next cure. It was a really fun day, and my team was just superb. What you see here is a video. That dinosaur, which I think is a Triceratops, is actually my clinic manager. So there's an awesome human inside of there. She's walking with her fiance, and you can see the Boster MS Center shirt. And so I'm really, really excited that we were able to represent the Boster Center at the National MS Society Walk. It was really, really fun. Angela, one of our moderators, was there. Sally Stevens is online. Sally is a representative from the National MS Society. She came on recently, and she was there to support us, and it was really superb. So thank you everyone on our team who participated, and thank you for helping us raise money. I want to thank the National MS Society for letting us participate, and I'm really looking forward to doing it even larger next year. So that was really, really exciting. And thank you to every single person who walked with our team. Thank you for all of those that donated and contributed. It was a very, very special, special time. Now, thank you for letting me share that with you. What I would like to do now is talk about something that is exciting to me. Last Thursday, I published a video on this channel. And I normally don't publish a lot of videos on Thursdays, but I couldn't help myself. I was going to wait until Monday, and I just couldn't do it. And so I had to put out this video last Thursday. And the topic, the title of the video was New MS Medicine Class 2022. And I talked about a new class of medicine that we are actively involved in developing, and something that I think is going to be the next best thing. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about BTK inhibitors. So let's put that up on the screen. And I'm going to spend some time tonight talking about BTK inhibitors. Now, when I first, hey Yusuf, it's good to see you, my friend. When I first learned about BTK inhibitors, and I came home and told my wife, hey, I'm involved in some research with BTK inhibitors, her immediate response was, yeah, bind, torture, kill. I said, what? And she shared with me that there was a serial killer, a very scary dude, who went by the moniker, the BTK killer, for bind, torture, kill, which is really freaky and scary. And that has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm talking about tonight. So put those crazy thoughts out of your head. And I'm going to be talking about BTK inhibitors, a new molecule that we're studying aggressively in multiple sclerosis. So BTK stands for Bruton tyrosine kinase. So I'll put that up there. And this is an enzyme inside of some cells. So think of an enzyme as like a machine in a factory. And the BTK enzyme or machine is not found in all factories. It's only in certain factories. So it's only in certain cells. And a BTK inhibitor breaks the machine. So it blocks the BTK. So it breaks that machine in that particular factory. And so in order to understand what BTK inhibitors do, we need to know a little bit about which cells express BTK. So that's what we're going to start talking about tonight. Before I jump into that, I want to take 2 steps back, and I want to really frame our discussion surrounding what causes damage in multiple sclerosis. Pathologically, what causes damage? And then from there, we're going to talk about how we try to address that damage. So you can develop neurological disability from 2 ways in MS. There's 2 different ways that you can develop neurological problems. One way we term raw, right? So the term raw, R-A-W, stands for relapse associated worsening. So I'll throw that up on the screen, relapse associated worsening. So what does that mean in English? It means you have an MS attack, and then you don't get all the way better. So I'll use an example of you have an MS attack of your spinal cord, and it makes your left leg weak, so your left leg's not strong. And then you get some steroids and some physical therapy and some time, and your left leg gets stronger, but it doesn't get all the way back to 100%. Your left leg's only 80%. And if you're really tired or if it's really hot out, your left leg still drags. So in this example, you have accrued a degree of disability from incomplete recovery from an attack. That's raw. And that's one of the two ways that you can get worse in MS. Now, here's what's really disturbing. That is not the most common way that people get worse. It's not. The other way that people get worse is from something called PIRA. And I'm going to write that up in the chat. PIRA stands for progression independent from relapse activity. I can't see. From relapse activity. So I may have misspelled some of those words, but hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. PIRA. Now, PIRA is a situation where the person has not had an attack. So there's no attack, but they got worse slowly, independent from an attack. And this is not the second half of the disease, so-called secondary progressive MS. We can see RAW and PIRA in early relapsing disease. So this is not for someone who's had MS for 20, 30 years. We can see worsening on exam from RAW and PIRA now, like in the present moment in relapsing MS, even early in the disease process. Here's the next important thing that I want to share with you. Both RAW and PIRA are caused by an aberrant immune system that's messed up. It doesn't work properly. And one of the parts of the immune system that's not working properly is the adaptive immune system. So the adaptive immune system is the one that you're probably most familiar with. So the adaptive immune system involves the B and the T cells. All right, so let's write that up there. Adaptive immune system. That's the B and T cells. So I'll put that in the chat. And the adaptive immune system is messed up in MS. So your B cells and your T cells, which are like soldiers that are supposed to fight off bad guys, messed up. And some of those B and T cells identify your brain and your spinal cord as a foreign invader. And so that's one of the things that we can see in the setting of multiple sclerosis is an aberrant adaptive immune response. But that's not the only part of the immune system that's messed up. The innate immune system is half of the immune response. So that's a really big thing. And you have probably never heard about it. And the reason you've probably never heard about it is because up until very, very recently, we were not able to touch the innate immune system. We couldn't reach it. And so all of the therapies that we had up until this one that I'm about to tell you about only worked on the adaptive immune response, and it didn't touch the innate immune response. The second thing that I want to talk about pathology is where does the pathology occur? MS pathology occurs in two locations. It occurs in the periphery, in the bloodstream. So there are pathologic cells in the bloodstream. And it occurs in the central compartment, inside the compartment for the brain and spinal cord. And so I want you to keep in mind as we have this conversation that MS pathology is caused by an aberrant adaptive immune system and an aberrant innate immune system, and that pathology occurs in the periphery and it occurs in the central compartment. Okay, so those are the two things that I need you to keep in mind. Now here's the issue. To date, we have 27 different formulations of MS medicines. And that's amazing. We have all these interferon beta products. We have all of these pills. We have all of these infusions. We have all of these shots. There's a lot going on that we can apply to help with MS. But all of those medicines, the 27 different medicines that are FDA approved to treat MS, 0 of them directly impact the innate immune system. All of them do something with the adaptive immune system, but almost all of them ignore or can't reach the innate immune response directly. And so that's a real kick in the pants. Because to date, with the current medicines we have, we really can't impact directly the innate immune response. Also, most of the MS drugs do not work in the central compartment. Even though that's where your brain and spinal cord are located, most of the impact of the drugs occur outside the central compartment. And so that's a bummer, because really it would be awesome if we had medicines that could impact both the innate and the immune response and the central and the peripheral compartment. But our current 27 different formulations of MS medicines cannot do that. And now I'm excited to share with you that we are studying a medicine that can do that. And now we come back to the BTK inhibitors. So let me throw that up. So BTK inhibitors work in the central compartment and in the peripheral compartment. They can have an impact on both. Also, BTK inhibitors have an impact on the adaptive immune system and the innate immune system. And so I am really, really excited that we are studying these BTK molecules because they work both in the innate and the adaptive response, and both in the central and in the peripheral compartments. Now, in this video that I made last Thursday, I took it a little bit further, and I'm going to share some more information with you now, talking a little bit about the specifics of how these drugs work, these BTK inhibitors. So the BTK, this enzyme or this machine in the factory, is found in B cells. So that's part of the adaptive immune system, the B cells. And when you give a B cell depleter, so B cell depleters are great drugs like ocrelizumab, that's Ocrevus, rituximab, Rituxan, and ufatumumab, that's Kesimpta. So those are FDA-approved B cell depleters. Very, very effective medicines to treat MS. They work, hello Laura Rushilling, hello John Scapino, they work by killing B cells. So they work via murder. So the way that the B cell depleters work is they identify adult B cells and murder them. They take them out of play, which is an extremely effective way to treat MS. But it comes with its own set of concerns, including, for example, infection. The BTK inhibitors, when you break the BTK, what happens to the B cell is it doesn't die. It does not kill the cell. It just makes it so you can't hear it. So it blocks B cell signaling. So it's kind of like going, la, 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 I can't hear you. And it's a really cool trick that you can prevent the B cell from stimulating a T cell, except you don't cause murder. So Judy Lemire asks if they could be used in older folks, and yes, they can. And in fact, the clinical trials that we're studying right now, some of them go out to age 60 in their enrollment, which is really cool. And so the way that the BTK inhibitors work on the adaptive immune system, on the B cells, by blocking B cell signaling but not causing murder, is a really, really cool trick, and one that I'm very excited about, particularly because it looks like it's less of an infection risk. Now, I'm not telling you that BTK inhibitors has zero infection risk, but it's much less than what we see with our other medicines. And that makes using them during a global viral pandemic something that's much more palatable. Now, the other thing that's super duper exciting is the impact on the innate immune system. And many of you on the horn tonight have probably not heard neurologists talk about the innate immune system very much because we've never been able to reach it. And there's a particular innate immune system cell that I would like you to learn about called microglia. So microglia are part of the innate immune system, and they live in the brain only. So there are no microglia in the periphery, only in the central compartment, only in the brain and spinal cord. And microglia are support cells. So they kind of hang out in the background, and they don't do a lot unless they get pissed off. And if they get pissed off, they literally transform into the Incredible Hulk and they eat stuff they're not supposed to, like your brain. Now, there's a major problem in the setting of MS because in the setting of MS, the milieu of the brain becomes inflamed. And so you have this chronic inflammatory environment in your brain, and that causes these microglia to become chronically activated. So it's like you piss off all the microglia constantly, and they're constantly mad, and they're constantly the Incredible Hulk, and they're eating stuff they're not supposed to. And many of us are concerned that the damage caused by microglia occur particularly in progressive disease states, particularly later in the disease process behind an intact blood-brain barrier. And there's a lot of concern that our current medicines can't touch microglia because they can't. But microglia express BTK. And so when you give a BTK inhibitor, you can kill microglia. which is really, not kill, excuse me, but you can block microglia's activity. And so that's really, really exciting to have a drug, these BTK inhibitors, which are these small pills that you take once a day, which is able to both work in the central and the peripheral compartment and work on the adaptive and the innate immune response. And so I'm very, very excited. Now, at the Boster Center for MS, we are actively involved in clinical trials for BTK. And so if you're listening to this live stream and you want to learn more about these BTK trials, definitely call the office, send us a note, and we would love to hear from you. So you can talk to my lead coordinator, a woman named Erin Woodburn, and I'll put our phone number. And so you can give her a ring-a-ding-a-ding. And that's the clinic number. That's not her cell phone. And let her know that you're interested, and we'll give you a call back, and we can screen you. And I'm told the music is too loud. I'm sorry about that. Let me turn the music down a little bit. And hopefully that's not too loud. Is the music okay, guys? Okay, it's better. Super. Frédéric, merci bien d'avoir venu au France. Ça fait grand plaisir de vous voir. J'espère que tout va bien chez vous. Et on va continuer. So, when we talk about these microglia and these B cells, when we talk about BTK inhibitors, it's very, very exciting. But the rubber meets the road when we test these in people impacted by MS. And I'm going to shift the attention of our discussion to how we develop clinical trials, right? And we are currently testing BTK in relapsing MS, in secondary progressive MS, and in primary progressive MS. Sharon, that's right. We're studying it in primary progressive MS in a trial called the Perseus trial. We're studying it in secondary progressive MS in a trial called the Hercules trial. I don't make up these names. And we're studying relapsing MS in 3 separate trials from 3 different manufacturers. And so there's a lot of excitement going on right now as we enroll patients for these studies. I'm thrilled. And the studies that we're running currently are phase 3 trials. So phase 3, let me write that down. Phase 3 trials. So I want to talk a little bit about the phases of trials. When you do a clinical trial, you first have a molecule, like some drug that was developed in a laboratory and it looks really, really cool, and maybe you test it out in a mouse, in the mouse model of MS, and it seems to be successful, or maybe you test it out in a petri dish, but you haven't tested it in humans yet. So when you are ready to test it in humans, the first test done in humans is a phase 1 trial. So I always joke that a phase 1 trial is when you give the drug to a poor college kid and see if they explode, which is pretty close to what we actually do. We take young, healthy controls, admit them in the hospital, put EKGs on them, all this kind of stuff, and observe them carefully while we administer the drug, looking just for safety. And these BTK molecules are safe. In fact, the BTK molecules are FDA approved for certain types of cancers. And so we actually have a lot of information about them as it relates to cancer. We did a phase 2 trial. When you have a successful phase 1, then you do a phase 2. Now, the phase 2 trial is not in healthy college students, it's in people with MS. So you're now testing it in the population of interest. But when you do a phase 2 trial, you're not looking for a clinical outcome. You're looking for safety, and you're looking to prove a concept. It's called a proof of concept in a phase 2 trial. In the phase 2 trial, proof of concept is almost always the MRI. And so what I've prepared for you guys tonight is a discussion surrounding one of the BTK molecules, and I'm going to share with you the phase 2 data. So it's pretty nerdy stuff. And if you are not into nerding out with me, you might want to go get a cup of coffee for 5 minutes while I go through this. But it's my hope for those of you that stick around that I can help kind of share with you the scientific experience of a phase 2 trial, right? So let's start off. Now, there are several BTK inhibitors, and I grabbed this example simply because I found it first. And which of the BTKs is not as important. I'm instead really wanting to use this trial to share with you how we do a phase 2 trial and what this phase 2 trial showed and why this trial led to a phase 3 trial. So the title is Safety and Efficacy of Tilibrutinib, an oral brain-penetrant BTK inhibitor in relapsing multiple sclerosis, phase 2b, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial. Now, let's translate what the hey all those words mean. Tilibrutinib is the name of the BTK inhibitor. And we're going to look and see if it's effective, and we're going to see if it's safe. Now, in the title, they tell you a little bit about it. It's a pill, and it crosses the blood-brain barrier, so it has an effect in the brain and outside the brain, in both places. We're studying it in people that have relapsing MS, so we're not looking at primary progressive MS. We're looking at relapsing forms of MS. And it's randomized, meaning which allocation the patient was placed in was a coin flip. It's also blinded, which means the patient and the doctor do not know what drug they're taking. And it's placebo-controlled, which means some people are going to get drug and some people are going to get a dummy drug. And so all of that's in the title. It also tells you that it's a phase 2. So if we spend a little bit of time talking about the background. So Tilibrutinib is not a new compound. It's a compound which has been used to study cancer. And it's a pill that you take, and you can see that it crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it's irreversible. So when it binds to the BTK, the Bruton tyrosine kinase, that machine in the factory, it breaks it, and it doesn't unbreak it. So once it binds, for the life of that cell, it's not going to unbind. And so you're going to prevent the BTK for the life of that cell. And as you see here in the background, the BTK inhibitors work on B lymphocytes, B cells, and on microglia. And so there you see the B cells, the humoral part of the adaptive immune system, and you see that word microglia, the innate immune system. And both are involved. Now, what you see here is we're going to see whether or not different doses of Tilibrutinib can shut down the MRI, because the proof of concept is the MRI. Now, let's get into how they structured the clinical trial. First of all, this is a 16-week trial, so 4 months. Now, this is a phase 2. It's a proof of concept. It's fast. I'm currently involved in phase 3 trials, and those last 3 years. This is only a 4-month trial because it's just trying to prove a concept. And you can see that there's a very interesting clinical trial design. Patients are randomized into one of 2 allocations, so they're either put in group A or group B, and they don't know which group they're in. And if you started in group A, you flip over to group B later. And if you started in group B, you flip over to group A later. So there's a crossover. And this trial was not done in one location. It was actually done all throughout the world in 40 different locations in Europe and in North America. Now, why do you do a trial in different locations? It's because what if one clinic happened to be unusual, and maybe because of some strange coincidence, all those patients had a really weird phenomenon? Well, if you did the entire trial in one location, then you risk some type of bias. But if you do the trial all over the world and there's one location that's weird, it's all going to balance itself out. And so that's why they take the trouble to do this in 40 different locations. Now, the people that were enrolled had relapsing MS, which is defined as either relapsing or remitting, or secondary progressive, still having attacks. Those are the groups of people that were allowed in. And they allowed people that were age 18, so no children, up to age 55, which is unfortunately a very common age bracket for MS in clinical trials. And it was not acceptable to be in the trial unless you had recent disease activity. So if you had had 1 attack in the last year, or 2 attacks in the last 2 years, or an enhancing lesion on your MRI, then you were allowed in the trial. Now, if you had primary progressive MS, or were no longer having attacks, then you were not allowed in the trial. So those were the people they let in. Now, once you were in the trial, they randomly assigned you to one of 2 groups. You were either, and so I'm going to call them Group A and Group B. And once you're in Group A, they then further randomize you into one of 4 allocations. And each of these allocations is a dose of BTK because there's a 5 milligram dose, a 15 milligram dose, a 30 milligram dose, and a 60 milligram dose. So why are they testing 4 different doses? It's because this trial was trying to figure out the right dose. It's a dose-finding trial. That's where we figure it out. And so if you're in Group A, you are then randomized to one of 4 locations. And if you're in Group B, same thing. And everybody in the trial got BTK for 12 weeks, so for 3 months. Group A got BTK for 12 weeks and then placebo for the last 4. Group B got placebo for the first 4 and then BTK for the last 12. And so those are the 2 different groups. So everybody is going to get a BTK inhibitor for 3 months, and everybody's going to be off the BTK inhibitor for 1 month. Group A is going to be off in the beginning, and Group B is going to be off in the end. And that's the way it was structured. Now, the goal of the trial was to look at new enhancing lesions, so to look at new MRI GAD lesions. And in this trial, they did the trial MRI every 4 weeks. So 4 months, you got an MRI basically once a month for 4. And they looked at the number of enhancing lesions during the placebo part, and then they looked at the number of enhancing lesions while they were on the BTK inhibitor. And so they were able to look at the 2 different groups, and they were able to look at all the different doses. A really complicated clinical trial design. And here's what they found. So they were able to run 126 people through that trial. So half were in Group A, half were in Group B. And in each group, they took either 5, 15, 30, or 60 milligrams. And what they found was really impressive. The BTK shuts down the MRI really well. And the higher the dose, the better it does it. So the 60 milligram arm did better than the other arms in shutting down the contrast, which is really, really cool. Now, this looks at the safety profile. 1 patient was hospitalized because of an MS attack, and most common non-serious side effects were headache. All right, and so you can see there that there was a headache, but nobody dropped out of the trial because of a problem with safety, and fortunately there were no deaths. Now, the punchline to this trial is that telobrutinib, which is one of the BTK inhibitors, demonstrated success in cleaning up the MRI, and that the 60 milligram dose seemed to be the very best dose. And it was based on this clinical trial that they then turned and developed the phase 3 trial that I'm currently doing. And so I wanted to share with you the data that led to the current phase 3 trials that we're doing. And I am hopeful that that's kind of a fun thing to share with you. I don't know that I've taken time to kind of go through the scientific method before. And I would love to know what you guys think. So if you're watching this during the live stream or if you're watching it after in the replay, leave a comment about whether you enjoyed learning this nerdy stuff or not. If it's something you like, I can do a lot more of it. If it's something you don't like, then I'll definitely shy away. Alrighty. So if you took a bio break to avoid the nerddom that just ensued, you're welcome back. I cannot believe there's 206 of you. That was really, really cool to see so many people online right now. And Angela, thank you for the kind comment. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about the BTK inhibitors because I really feel like it's going to be the next best thing. And that's super, super awesome. So that is the didactic that I had planned for us today. It's 7:04 and the very first opportunity for the MS Water Challenge. So if you're new here, the MS Water Challenge is very important on this channel. Here's how it works. When I drink, you drink. So get your water ready and let's fire it up. MS Water Challenge, guys. Oh, that's really good. This is a seltzer water. It's original, so no flavor, and I really like it. Awesome. Okay, guys, what I would love to do now is shift gears and start an AMA MS. Ask me anything multiple sclerosis. So we're going to shift gears. I'm going to ask the moderators to help me out. And so if you see a question that's really exciting, go ahead and repost it for me to make it easier for me to find. Jen McGraw, thank you very much for the kind words. I really appreciate that. Excuse me. And let's look for some questions tonight. Carol is throwing up some good loves and vibe. If you guys liked that presentation, go ahead and flame up the chat for me. Just let me know that you liked it with some flames. Here's a question that T-Mom asked. With phase 3 trials taking 3 years, when will BTK be available to the masses? So that's a really good question. So the phase 3 trial will take 3 years, and we'll get a readout probably in year 4. So I think in under 5 years, we'll probably see FDA approval. Look at all those. That's fantastic. So Hank asks, treatment for smoldering MS. And there is a very significant belief that this medicine, these BTK inhibitors, may very well work with smoldering MS, which some people refer to as the real MS. A lot of flames in the chat. Thank you. A lot of love. I really, really appreciate it. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. I also can't believe there's 211 you online. Wow, that's awesome. Lena's throwing up flames. I'm super loving that. Okay, let's look for some questions, guys. So this is a really good question from Jennifer W. It says, how do the BTK inhibitors compare to B-cell treatments? And the answer is, I have no idea. So the phase 3 trials that we're doing right now are involved with an active comparator, so there's no dummy drug, and we're comparing the BTK to the drug Aubagio. So Aubagio head-to-head against BTK. But there's no trial that I'm aware of that looks at the B-cell depleters. So that's not something that we know yet. If I was going to guess, which you don't want me to do, but what the heck, I would guess that BTK inhibitors will not be as robust at relapses and new MRI lesions and will be as good, if not better, at smoldering MS and slowing progression. So that's my guess. But I don't really know. That's why we're doing the trials. And so we will find out soon, I hope. So Kelly says that she loves the discussion. She's a retired nurse, so she understood it. That's awesome, Kelly. Thank you. I really appreciate the kind words. Let's take a look here. So John Wayne, which by the way is a great name, writes, can Uhthoff phenomenon affect other things besides vision? In the heat, like cognitive confusion, etc. Okay. So let's unpack what John Wayne is saying, partner. So Uhthoff is a dead European. So Uhthoff named something after himself, and we still refer to his phenomenon today. Uhthoff's phenomenon was an observation that if someone who had had an optic neuritis in the past got overheated, that they would lose their vision temporarily. And it gave birth to one of the very first diagnostic tests for MS that exists, called the hot bath test or the hot water test. And there are some hospitals in the United States that still have a tub in a room, which they would use for people with MS. And what they would do is they would draw a bath, not a boiling bath, but a hot bath. And the human would get into the bath and it would heat up their core body temperature. And they would short circuit old areas of damage. And so if they had had an optic neuritis in the past, as they raised their core body temperature, they lose vision. And then when their body cooled back down, they regain vision. And that was used diagnostically in an era before neuroimaging, before we had CT scans or MRIs. And so Uhthoff's phenomenon is one example of a heat-sensitive symptom. So it's reemergence of blindness from old optic neuritis in the setting of being overly heated. So John Wayne is not asking about that. He knows about Uhthoff's phenomenon. He's asking, what about other things? And the answer is, heck yeah, buddy. We can see any heat-sensitive phenomenon. And I'll give you 5 examples. I have a patient, a wonderful friend of mine, and he developed erectile dysfunction when he developed MS and when he was age 18. And it was really challenging to have a child. And later in life, he's pretty affected by his MS. He uses a wheelchair, and he started Ampera. Why did he start Ampera? Well, he doesn't walk. He started Ampera because his core gets weak when he gets overheated, and he has trouble keeping his balance. And so if he takes Ampera, he can sit upright because that is a heat-sensitive symptom for him. But there's another heat-sensitive symptom. So after he had started the medicine, I see him and his wife in clinic, and I forgot to ask about the Ampera. And towards the end of the visit, I'm kind of wrapping up the visit, and the wife says, "Oh yeah, by the way, Dr. B, you may never take away my husband's Ampera." And I said, "Okay." And she said, "I don't think you heard me. You may never take away my husband's Ampera." So I said, "Okay, well, tell me what's the deal." She says, "Well, when he takes Ampera, he's 18 again. And his heat-sensitive erectile dysfunction resolved," which is awesome. So we have walking speed, which can be affected by heat. We have Uhthoff's phenomenon, which can be affected by heat. You can have cog fog in the setting of getting overheated. You can have an unsteadiness of your gait. You can even have difficulty with the down theres. So many people impacted by MS have heat-sensitive symptoms, and many have cold-sensitive symptoms. And fortunately, there are medicines like Ampera, and there are things like cooling vests that can help people. And that was a great question, John Wayne. Thank you very, very much. All right, looking for another question, guys. So Redikin says, is there a correlation between MS and local anesthesia not working being metabolized excessively fast? No. So Robert Eckelman writes, "I had optic neuritis. At first, very bad. It's much better now, but for the past 8 months, it is still fluctuating. When should it be final with no changes? Can it still get better?" So it's hard to sort that out, Robert. I would tell you that if you have residual deficits at 1 year, you're probably not going to get any better. And that's true most of the time. I will tell you a weird story that I saw firsthand, a patient of mine, a very, very nice man, who for years complained not about optic neuritis, but about Lhermitte's. When he would bend his neck, he'd have electricity shooting down his back, and he hated it. But he didn't want to take medicines, but he would tell me about it every time I saw him. My neck, and I would show him his MRI, and I would show him the lesions on the back of his spinal cord. I'd say, "Look, man, this is damage that I can't undo. I can't make it go away." And then I gave him a really powerful induction therapy for MS, alemtuzumab, Lemtrada. And about month 3 or so, he comes back to me and goes, "You're a liar." I said, "Why are you calling me a liar?" He said, "You're a liar because you told me that I would never have this go away, and it's gone, and I'm normal, and you lied to me." To which I said, "Wow, I did lie to you, but not on purpose. I didn't know I was lying to you. I didn't know that was possible." And he, to date, no longer has Lhermitte's phenomenon. It's gone. And what that tells me is I'm not as smart as I think I am. And sometimes we don't understand things as well as we think we do. Oh, now I just noticed that it looks like Dr. Bieber is online. So I didn't see him. There he is. So Dr. Bieber is a buddy of mine. He is an MS neurologist out in sunny California at Kaiser Permanente. He's a fellowship-trained MS neurologist and a really cool guy. And he has a really great YouTube channel. So if you don't follow Dr. Bieber, you should. So go to his YouTube channel and definitely follow him. I love his videos. He puts out a video every Wednesday. The guy's wicked smart. I really enjoy interacting with him. And he wrote a question. And so, Brandon, thank you for coming on my live stream. So he writes, "What do you think about Professor Gavin Giovannoni's idea that Ocrevus is less effective in people with higher body mass and may be underdosed overall to stop progression?" So first of all, Dr. Giovannoni is a great mind in our field. And one of the things that he's really fond of doing is pushing the envelope. He loves to push the envelope and really try to challenge status quo. And so Ocrevus, which is a B-cell depleter that we talked about earlier today, is a really great drug. It's one of the most effective drugs in the MS armamentarium. And what Dr. Giovannoni is saying is that maybe we're not using a high enough dose. Maybe we need to be using a higher dose in order for it to be fully effective. And there's actually some ongoing research right now looking at higher doses. And in specific, he's talking about concerns about larger body mass. And I think he's onto something. So there was a presentation at the American Academy of Neurology. This is pre-pandemic. I want to say 2018, but please don't quote me. It might have been 2019. And what we found was people who have a larger body mass, so big people, tend to have less surface area distributed of their Ocrevus. It's kind of like they don't get as big enough of a dose because they're a larger human. And the medicine doesn't last as long in them. It doesn't go as far in them as it would in a tiny person. And this paper came out right about the time that some of my patients were describing the so-called crap gap, a wearing off period. Now, what I've noticed is there's a higher propensity of crap gap in larger sized human beings. It doesn't mean that a small person doesn't have it, but I think this is relevant to what Dr. Giovannoni was talking about, that in a larger body habitus, we probably aren't using enough. Now, there's currently a trial ongoing looking at double dose Ocrevus, and I think that's the way to go. I really think that we need a higher dose. And it begs the question whether or not other B-cell depleters like Uhthoff might be underdosed. And so, Dr. Bieber, if you're still listening, I would love to know your thoughts on whether or not you think that Uhthoff might be underdosed as compared to ocrelizumab. Just a curiosity. That was a great question. And again, good sir, thank you for jumping on the live stream. All right, let's look for, here's a question about diet, a favorite topic of mine. And let's change the thing around. Maybe we'll do this one for a little bit. Let's get this back on there. I can't believe there's over 200 of you. That's such an honor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. And so this question is about diet, and it reads, I struggle with my diet. I comfort myself with treats. As I try to eat better, are fat-free milk products bad for MS? Better than fried foods and sugar? All right. So there's a lot to discuss here. So Leucemia is doing what I do, which is rewarding her or himself with food. So you do a good deed and then you get a bonbon, right? And that's completely understandable because food is delicious. And it's a great reward. It's a great way of improving your quality of life. But at the same time, we have to be cognizant of how much we're eating and how often we're eating. And for those of you that follow the channel know that I've done a lot of videos recently on intermittent fasting, something that I've used to lose a bunch of weight and to keep it off. And I think that we need to revisit using food as a reward. If you're going to use food as a reward, I think it should be attached to a meal. So you're not just like randomly eating a bonbon at 4 in the afternoon. I would include it with your dinner, or I would include it with your lunch. And I think moderation is key. So if you're proud of yourself because you did a really good job on an exam and you want to have a small dessert at the end of your dinner, do that. But going to the store and buying a box of donuts and just eating the box of donuts, which is something I've done in the past, is not a good idea. And I would love it if you were able to reframe a reward to something that's not food. Could a reward be that you're allowed to watch a favorite show, or that you're going to treat yourself to a movie, or that you're going to take yourself and your dog to the park and relax and celebrate that way? Is there something else that you could be doing? You also ask about the specifics of, would it be better to have a fat-free milk product? And there's a lot of that's actually a very charged question. So I'm of the opinion that fat is not bad. All right, I don't shy away from fats, and I think fats are actually really helpful. I think fats are probably more useful and healthier than a lot of carbohydrates. And milk sometimes gets a bad rap in MS. There's a lot of discussions about whether or not we should include milk. I would not enter into that conversation, however. I would simply say, A, can we come up with a reward that's not food? And B, if we're going to enjoy whatever that might be, as long as it's in moderation, I don't think that it's going to derail your efforts. That's my 2 cents, and I super appreciate the question. Thank you. Let's see here. A lot of people are saying hi to Dr. Bieber. Dr. Bieber, there's a lot of love on this chat for you. And so here's another comment from Dr. Bieber. I have one patient who developed severe disequilibrium and brainstem lesion, slowly improved roughly 5-year period. And so Dr. Bieber shares kind of what we were talking about earlier, that even though we should get all the way better in 6 months to a year, that's not necessarily true, and it can take longer. So Krista writes, would there be an explanation for why I had so many new lesions over a short amount of time? And my mentor would tell you sometimes nature's too generous. We don't have a strong enough understanding of the underlying pathophysiology of MS to be able to explain to you why. I can tell you that that's bad. I can tell you that I don't want to see that and that I want to quell it with steroids and then get you on a hardcore drug to stop that from happening. I'm glad that they were able to catch that, and I hope that they respond very aggressively. Now, let's do a little MS Water Challenge and celebrate the fact that there's 227 people online. I don't think I've ever had that many ever. So thank you, thank you, thank you. MS Water Challenge, yo. Yum. Now here's a nice question from Sharon, excuse me. And Sharon writes, does an epidural make spasms worse for hip replacement? They were bad for me, and I'm going to need the right one done. So what Sharon is talking about is if we are going to do a procedure for the hip, a hip replacement, that's a pretty big procedure. They're going to be cutting you, and that's going to hurt really badly. And so they can use anesthesia. They can anesthetize you, numb up the area, and that way it doesn't hurt. But in order to anesthetize you, they have to insert a needle, and that can cause some pain and discomfort by itself. And so I think it's really an issue of the lesser of two evils. And I would vote to do the epidural, maybe with some lidocaine to try to make it as groovy as possible, because I think the bigger concern is if you didn't have any anesthesia going through that surgery. It's not uncommon that someone impacted by MS, when they have a surgery, which is a noxious stimulation, they can see a little bit of yuckiness afterwards. They can see an uptick of their MS symptoms, but it typically is transient and goes away. Great question, thank you. Here's a question from Kelsey Davis, who writes, are stimulants effective for MS fatigue? My MS specialist says they're not. What are your thoughts? So I disagree with your MS specialist. There is a paper that came out last year that said the stimulants that we've been using in MS don't work, and I think that's bullshit. The reason I think it's BS is, number one, there are other papers that say they do work, and more importantly, I've been using them for 17 years to treat people with MS, and I can tell you with authority that they do work. And moreover, they have really, really been game changers for many of my patients. I'm talking going from almost going to lose your job to getting accolades because we were able to keep you awake at work. And so your MS specialist is wrong, and you can have them call me. I'd be happy to spar with them if they wanted to chat about it. So Kristen Lynn asks, how long until the BTK inhibitors are released? Right now we're in clinical trials, and it's my guess that we're going to see them out in the next 5 years. All right, looking for other questions. Let's see. Is there a way to differentiate progression from overall physical deconditioning? That's a really great question. So when you think about a human being with MS, if their exam gets worse, we have to ask why. And there may be 4 reasons why their exam could get worse. One reason is they have an attack and they don't recover, right? Which is not the tenor of this question. The second is progression independent from attack. That's that PIRA thing I was talking about earlier. And that can occur. You also could get worse because of undertreated symptoms. So for example, if you're having spasms of your leg and you can't bend your leg, you can't walk. So you may be sitting in a wheelchair, not because your legs don't work, just because they don't bend properly. And so that's a symptom which is making you have neurological disability. And lastly is from deconditioning. So if you don't exercise, you're going to get weaker and your limbs won't work as well. And so the reality is a human being could experience all 4 of those things. And the body doesn't come with a rule book to tell you, this particular problem is occurring because of blankety bloopity. So how do you figure it out? Well, there's a couple ways. And to answer your specific question, if we're trying to figure out progression versus deconditioning, we recondition you. So what I would do is I would send you to physical therapy and work your butt off. And I would want to have testing in my office probably about once a month, have you bop in and do a timed walk, do a 9-hole peg test. And we're going to look and see how you look before and after a course of physical therapy. And if your symptoms ameliorate and you get better, well, then it was probably deconditioning. And that's one of the ways that we can try to sort it out. That was a great question. Thank you. All right. Let's look at, so here's Michelle writing in, I was just diagnosed and I'm struggling with sleep. I'm always worried that I'll get more lesions while I'm not sleeping. Is that correct? No. So you're not going to make yourself get more lesions by not getting sleep. You can make your symptoms worse because you're exhausted, but you can't get more lesions. And you are right now in the thick of it. Now, it's been my experience that it takes my patients about 2 years to get comfortable with their own disease. And at the end of 2 years, they're pretty smart about their disease because they've learned how to read their bodies and they understand their MS for them. But up until then, it takes about 2 years. And so I don't think you're there yet. And I don't think you can rush that process. All right, so Miguel writes, I have been begging for physical therapy. I don't get it, although I have insurance. And so I would talk to your neurologist and say, hey man, why can't I get a little physical therapy? Or ask for a prescription and walk yourself into the physical therapist and say, hey, here's my script. Let's do it up. Todd Roach says, right on with the 2-year mark for being comfortable. That's right, Todd. And it's not something that happens faster. It does not happen in a year, but it doesn't happen in 3 or 4 years. It takes about 2 years. So Jacques Breton asks, are upright MRI machines as accurate? Generally, no. And it's not so much that there's a problem because it's upright. I just oftentimes do not find them to be high field magnets. And so open MRIs, upright MRIs, those are nice, but they don't give us the kind of picture quality that I need. Mia says, are there any plans for a transition from Ocrevus to BTK inhibitor? So I think that's a clever thought, Mia, but it's way, way too early. First, we need to prove that they're successful in MS. We have lots of reasons to think they should be successful, but we have to prove that first. Once we prove that it's safe and we prove that it's effective, then we can start to figure out how to transition from one drug to another. It's not yet time for that. So Waji Georges writes, some medicines kill B cells. The new medicine such as BTK stops the communication. That said, is it fair to say that the B cells have no value if they are depleted? Well, a dead B cell is not helping, right? B cells do lots of stuff. And a BTK inhibitor can block that stuff. It just doesn't murder the cell. And so I'm not sure that I understood your question. But the one thing that I do feel confident in is that there's less of an infection risk with the BTK inhibitors, I feel, than with the B cell depleters. And that's been something that I'm really happy about as we do these clinical trials during a global viral pandemic. Krista Brady says, is having anxiety for a few weeks before your next Ocrevus normal? Yes, it's very, very normal. So, in fact, if you're not a little anxious about your therapy, I'm concerned that maybe you're not paying terribly close attention, right? And so I think it's normal to be a little anxious. So I do these live streams once a month, and I've done them for a long time, and I do a lot of public speaking, blah, blah, blah. I still get anxious before I jump on this live stream. And taking Ocrevus is way more serious and hardcore than me doing a live stream. I think it's very appropriate to have a little apprehension. And that's not unhealthy either. This is amazing, guys. There's 217 of you. Stephanie snuck in that question. Thank you for reminding us. She's asking about a autologous hematopoietic stem cell transplant. So a stem cell transplant is sexy, sexy, sexy. It sounds awesome to just swap out your bone marrow and then cure an underlying disease. And the devil is in the details. It's not so straightforward. It's true that stem cell transplantation is exciting, and it's currently being studied in some outstanding clinical trials. My friends at the Cleveland Clinic are doing a really great trial right now looking at stem cell transplantation. Years ago, I participated in a stem cell trial that we called the HALT trial. And I do think that stem cell transplantation is probably going to be a mainstay in the MS armamentarium, but probably not for another 5 to 10 years. Presently, you can travel to exotic locations like Mexico or India. You used to be able to go to Chicago and pay someone a bunch of money to swap out your bone marrow. But it has not been proven yet, and it's not without risk. Now, autologous that A that you see before all the rest of those letters, means that you're taking the stem cells from yourself. So they have to harvest your own stem cells and prep them and then murder you, kill all your other cells, then put them back in your body. And so it's a self stem cell transplant. It is 7:30 on the dot. We've been doing this for an hour. I have had an amazing time, and I want to thank each and every one of you for supporting me and supporting this channel. If you have not liked the video, please kindly consider doing so. It's really helpful to me, and it tells the YouTube algorithm that you like what we're doing. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so and click that bell so that you're alerted every time I jump online and you cannot miss anything. And if you have MS, think about going to the Boster Center for Multiple Sclerosis. Go visit our website, www.bosterms.com. So check us out there. If you would like to consider getting an appointment, 614-304-3444. Call that number. I'll throw that up on the screen also. And we're actively seeing new patients, and I want to make sure that you're well taken care of. So thank you, everyone. I super appreciate this opportunity. As always, you mean so much to me. This growing global online village is so special. And I can't wait until next month when we do it again. It'll be the last week of June. And until then, I'll look forward to seeing you every Monday morning when I publish my next video every Monday morning. And I'll look forward to seeing you at the Boster Center for MS. So be safe and take care. Have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.